Hello everyone, here's what's coming up tonight on News Center Now. The flu epidemic death toll continues to rise. Can you get the deadly virus from your family pet? We verify. You don't need two kidneys to exist.
A desperate search for a kidney, while this time a woman is asking for the public's help to save her life.
Maybe we'll get 3 or 4 more in.
Plus, he's been to every single Super Bowl and he's made some friends along the way.
This is News Center Now.
A lost hard drive exposed the personal and medical data of more than 600 hospital patients. I'm sorry, we almost just lost a camera. Hello everyone, I'm Lindsay Mills.
Speaking of hospitals, we're going to have to send Jeff to the hospital. I'm Lee Goldberg. An Eastern Maine Medical Center spokesperson says that they lost track of the hard drive and police are now having to investigate it as a theft. Representatives from the hospital say that they were alerted the hard drive had gone missing from a procedural room back on December 22nd, but patients weren't notified of this until today. That area of the building was under construction at the time. EMMC officials say that they're still unsure how the hard drive went missing or who may have taken it. The drive contained personal patient information, including names, dates of birth, medical record numbers, one world condition descriptors, and images from cardiac procedures. Hospital staff say that the impact should be minimal.
There were not Social Security numbers, there were no financial records, there was no credit card information. There actually weren't even any significant treatment records on the drive itself.
Though we feel that the risk is low, we do understand that there are concerns and we want to make sure that people feel that we are putting everything forward to protect all of their information.
EMMC is offering free identity theft monitoring for a year for patients affected. For additional concerns, they ask people to call their hotline, which is posted to our website and mobile app.
So we did get a short break from the snow today, which is nice, but more flakes will be apparently falling tomorrow. Keith here with our first forecast. What's up, Keith?
Yeah, it's kind of a messy little pattern. A couple of impulses. We had one yesterday, this morning, then another one tomorrow morning. Right now, the radar is actually relatively clean out there, but it is a short break as our next storm system is off to the west. So because boundary layer temperatures are actually relatively mild right now, late tonight, early tomorrow morning, it will start as rain showers along the coastline. So after midnight in most spots, and you can see around 4 in the morning, still rain in Rockland and Bar Harbor, but it's bringing in colder air on the backside of this front. So we'll eventually change over to snow by the morning hours, and then mid-morning it's snowing, late morning over down east, it's quick moving, and it's out of here by around 1 or 2, even over extreme down East Maine, and then we clear out for Friday afternoon and cool down Friday night and into Saturday. Boring snowfall map, but still worth showing you. 1 to 3 inches across much of the state. A little bit of a bullseye possible towards Bangor and points northeast, and then basically nothing across northern Aroostook County. More snow chances though, guys, Sunday, Sunday night, Monday, another one Wednesday, maybe one after that as well. So for once, earning my keep, or close to it at least.
In the last week, more than four more Mainers died from the flu, according to the Maine CDC. That brings this flu season's total to 28 deaths in Maine. The latest report shows more than 2,300 people contracted the virus here, with more than 500 new cases in the last 7 days.
So with so many flu cases, there are a lot of people wondering whether or not your pets can be affected by this.
Christina Rex set out to verify if kisses from your puppy could mean trouble.
Can I exchange the flu virus with my dog? It may sound like a crazy question, but it's been on a lot of people's minds.
He's a good boy. I think there's a lot of publicity about people flu, and everyone feels so miserable when they have it. Understandably, they want to make sure that they're safe from their pets.
We spoke with Dr. Ginger Brown Johnson, the owner of the Veterinary and Rehabilitation Center of Cape Elizabeth. So, can you get the flu from your dog? The answer? Not really.
It's really important to know there have been no people cases of dog flu, none at all.
Dr. Johnson says there has never been a case of a dog passing the flu to a human or vice versa. But that doesn't mean it never could happen.
Flu viruses are always changing, so it is worth monitoring, but as of this point, there have been no people cases of canine flu.
Influenza affects all species in a similar way.
Coughing, sneezing, discharge from the eyes or the nose, sometimes fever.
But it is not spread the same way within a species. Human flu is seasonal and can affect the entire country. Dog flu is not seasonal and is limited to localized outbreaks.
The dog show circuit, the greyhound racing circuit, maybe even places like kennels, daycares.
There have been 2 notable dog flu outbreaks, in Florida in 2004 and Chicago in 2015. Dr. Johnson says people in other areas of the country don't have to worry about a canine flu outbreak. But if your dog does get sick, to play it safe.
If we're sick, we're not going to go to school or work. If they're sick, we don't want them to be going to daycare or out to the dog park.
In Cape Elizabeth, Christina Rex, News Center, Maine.
So here in Maine, we don't have anything to worry about with our dogs getting the flu or with us getting it from them. Dr. Johnson says if you want to be extra careful, just wash your hands and keep your house sanitized. Sounds like some good advice.
Exactly, some easy tips to follow. A 12-year-old girl is under arrest, charged for the Los Angeles school shooting that injured 2 teenagers. Police say gunfire erupted in the middle school just before 9 o'clock this morning. A 15-year-old boy is in serious condition at a hospital from a gunshot wound to the head.
Washington is holding its collective breath, waiting to see if the so-called Nunes memo will be released. The document, which reportedly contains classified information about an FBI bias against President Trump, is now in the hands of President Trump. He will decide if the memo should be seen by the public. At Tuesday's State of the Union, he told a member of Congress that it will 100% be released. The memo could come out as early as today. Reaching out to strangers in a time of need.
Do I feel kind of like it's their turn and not my turn? In a way, you always advocate for yourself.
One Maine woman's continuing battle with kidney disease and her husband's public plea for help.
To you, Brayden, we failed you, we let you down.
A town publicly apologizes to a victim of child molester Larry Nassar, saying they should have believed her when she reported the abuse.
We're going to be better. We let you down, Brianne. And the outcome of that is that we're all going to be better. This has touched me personally in ways you'll never know.
13 years ago, a young woman in Michigan reported former USA Gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar for sexual abuse, but the local police department did not pursue charges. Today, the town manager and a police officer issued a public apology to Brianne, saying they were manipulated and deceived back in 2004.
It was emotional for officials and the survivor, but they did not pledge to work together. Actually, they did pledge to work together to make sure that something like this never happens again.
Imagine needing an organ transplant, then needing another, and then yet another on top of that one. That is the reality for one Maine woman.
Now she and her husband are hoping to use the power of social media to find that potential life-saving match.
My situation by far is not the worst out there.
Stacy McCarthy needs a kidney. Again, she's had kidney disease since the age of 6, a transplant when she was 16, another one 26 years later, and now it's time for a third. Stacy is on dialysis 3 days a week, 4 hours per time.
For a healthy adult, you don't need 2 kidneys to exist. You really don't. So there are a lot of healthy people out there that, you know, could be of help to the folks like myself and others that need a kidney or an organ to live some kind of a quality of life.
Her husband, Sean, has owned Dock 4 in the Old Port since 1989. Since no immediate friends or family were matches, Sean posted Stacy's situation on Facebook. For almost 30 years, he has served others and is now looking for someone to provide what his wife needs.
We've done a lot for the community, and that honestly never even crossed my mind to say it's our turn, but I guess in a way maybe it is.
Taking this very private and personal problem public was a risk the McCarthys are hoping will pay off.
It was humbling. I mean, that's the real word here, humbling, to see how many people were responding and how quickly it went from 5,000 to 10,000 and to 20,000 hits and posts. But at the same time, it makes me really relish the feeling that I'm part of this community.
Certainly wishing nothing but the best for them, and hopefully they find that match soon and we can get Stacey a kidney.
The power of social media and sharing a message like that.
All right, just a little bit of cleanup after today's snowfall, not too bad, but how much time do we have before the next system hits? Keith's got the full forecast coming up next. Plus,
coming up live from Minneapolis, we're at the Super Bowl Experience. Chris Costa and Jessica Gagne here will tell you about one Kennebunk man and his very unique connection to the Super Bowl.
We're on to 6 in the 4th, the 5th. Behind we fail, you give a major lift. The passing king, he throws to Amendola. Amendola.
Oh, this music gives us the chills. This parody of Hallelujah is the Super Bowl 52 anthem of Patriots fans everywhere. The Danny Amendola and Tom Brady team have helped New England out of some pretty serious situations, and Amendola is really the hero of this postseason.
Oh, and he has a little history with the Super Bowl 52 opponents as well, because Amendola was signed by the Eagles for a very brief period at the beginning of his career. In fact, you can see his practice jersey in a frame at the bottom of this picture on his Twitter page. Amendola told the NFL Network yesterday that a friend of his found the jersey somewhere on eBay and bought it, sent it to him with the note, "Never forget they cut you."
It may just be the best thing that could have happened to him. After all, he's won 2 Super Bowls with the Patriots.
And Mainers are super affectionate because his dad coached 1 season at Massabesic High School in Waterboro, so he lived here for 1 year. Very formative year.
Very, very interesting with Maine ties.
That's right.
Well, Amendola will have to prove himself again in just a few days.
Crowds getting even bigger in Minneapolis for Super Bowl 52 with more and more people arriving every day. It's going to get slammed tomorrow. Our March to Minnesota team is there, has been bringing you all of the Maine connections all week long.
Jess Gagne and Chris Costa are live at the Super Bowl Experience in downtown Minneapolis. Guys, what's it like there?
This is at the Minneapolis Convention Center. It is a huge building, and it is filling up with people more and more as the sun starts to go down, because again, it's cold outside. But this is a great place for fans to really come and interact. They can go catch a pass, maybe see one of their favorite celebrities walk by, and just have a lot of fun.
And it's a chance for them to really kind of live out those Super Bowl dreams and be kind of part of the Super Bowl for a day. We know a man very well from Kennebunk, Maine, Don Chrisman. He has been a part of every Super Bowl. While watching the Patriots this year will be nothing new for Don, this year will be a little bit different for the man who has never missed a Super Bowl.
My age, you never know.
Don Chrisman is always a busy man during Super Bowl week.
You know, here I am, I've done it again.
The 81-year-old is a bit of a celebrity, one of 3 living men who have attended every Super Bowl.
I don't know how far this is going to go. It's going a lot farther than I ever imagined.
A long way from the first one, when a ticket cost just $12. He knew the big game would become something special.
How's that look? It could turn into the World Series of football. We ought to be at the first one. And I think it has. It's just in my blood, and it's something I want to do. I love the game.
And when the Patriots are playing in it?
It's a much more stressful situation.
You ever look back and total up all the money you spent?
No, I'm afraid my wife might find out. Third deck on the 50.
His tickets to this year's Super Bowl cost $1,600. But the friends he's made in this exclusive club are priceless.
But half of it's really about the other guys.
The Kennebunk native became friends with a West Coaster, 49ers fan Larry Jacobson. Their friendship extended beyond the games, seeing the sights of host cities and visiting each other's hometowns for games. Larry passed away in October of 2017.
It's going to be hard to not have him here this year.
Very.
Yeah.
We have 45 shirts on, but we're actually at 48.
Despite what time has taken away,
like a family member, one of a kind.
It has also let Don create some incredible memories.
We take it 1 year at a time, and maybe we'll get 3 or 4 more in.
And he's confident the Patriots can pull off another victory.
The real key to this being a successful trip will be a win on Sunday. That's what it's all about.
Don is obviously very, very excited to be here, even though he's not going to be with his friend Larry. However, Larry's daughter is going to join them in their seats for the game, which is really, really exciting. And then they all have a gathering tomorrow, a luncheon, where they'll do a toast for Larry.
How sweet. All right, well, we've got good news for Patriots fans coming up at 5:30. We're hearing reports that Rob Gronkowski has cleared concussion protocol. He's scheduled to speak with the media in just a few minutes, so we'll have that at 5:30. And then at 6 o'clock, I think I'm going to send Chris out for a pass, Lee and Lindsay, so we'll see how he does.
In the bean boots.
Yeah, that could be scary. Nobody should get injured. We've already had one injury here.
He did have his protein shake, though, didn't he? I saw him eating that protein shake earlier. He was getting his bro time in.
Yeah.
It was good. I see him at the gym all the time. Believe it or not, I go. It doesn't really do anything, but I go and I show up.
I drive past the gym all the time.
Do you? Yeah, you wave
every day.
You wave. I wave to Coco. We call it a day.
I never miss a day.
It's
I drive
awesome.
by every day.
We got some snow again.
I know.
None of this is huge.
Exercising outside has not been ideal.
No, that's why I don't do it.
Is it ever really in the winter, though?
I ski, but that's about it.
Yeah.
If you're one of those runners, are you one of those? You run outside?
Outside, yes. Yeah. Even if it's cold outside.
No, I get it. Treadmills are tough. But yeah, it's been kind of just nuisance stuff. We saw about an inch in most spots today. Here's our next little system. It's a cold front, and as it moves through, it will kind of congeal into an area of snow showers and squalls tomorrow morning. First, though, because the boundary layer temperatures in the atmosphere are relatively mild, we're going to start late tonight, early tomorrow morning along the coast as rain showers. So don't let that catch you off guard. It will start as rain, but then transition to snow by early tomorrow morning, and it should be snowing for the morning commute in a lot of spots. Watch a few bursts of heavier convective kind of snow over the mid-coast and down east around 7, 8 o'clock. Then this exits noon at the latest over down East Maine, and after that, temperatures plunge on northwest winds. It's windy, brighter for Friday afternoon, but not all that pleasant. Snowfall amounts here, nothing crazy. We try not to get too cute with these kind of systems. 1 to 3 will cover pretty much everyone. We did put a little 2 to 4 enhancement here to the northeast of Bangor, and then not much across northern Aroostook County, away from kind of the forcing mechanism of this cold front. So there's that cold front. We get a break on Saturday. It's bright, but it's cold, starting below zero in a lot of spots, ending up only around 15 to 16 degrees for a high in most locations, despite the sun on Saturday. Then our next system moves in on Sunday. Starts as a couple of snow showers Sunday morning, congeals again into some light snow Sunday night, and then we get a rain-snow line issue Sunday night and into Monday as a secondary low tries to take over but doesn't quite do it. So as a result, all this warm air starts to filter in to the coastline while it's still snowing in the mountains. But wait, there's more. Another storm system on Wednesday looks somewhat similar at this point, where it could be a rain-snow line issue. Don't worry about exactly what it's doing at this moment. I think it'll be a little bit closer than that. So here's Sunday night into Monday. No amounts yet, but I do think we'll change to rain along the coastline, a mix across the interior, and then happy times for the ski areas. Mainly snow, it looks like there, and it could be over 6 inches of accumulation. All right, here's a look at our 7-day forecast. Some light snow again Sunday afternoon into Sunday night, changing to rain along the coastline, staying snow and a mix in the interior. And then we'll watch next Wednesday. Could be another inside runner. Kind of interesting. This pattern is overall conducive for snow, but it's missing one big ingredient, which is a blocking high pressure system that slows down our biggest snowstorms. And it's not there at all next week. So these storms are faster and a little bit warmer, and that could be the difference between what could be a heck of a week and one that just has a couple of mixes in there.
Kind of like when I go bowling and I don't have the
you need
bumpers,
the little bumpers
up, you know.
Are those for children? No more?
Well, I mean, if you want to get strikes like I get.
I see what you're getting at, Lee. It's all right.
Didn't say a word.
Moving on.
Didn't say a word. No gutter ball from Keith today. All right,
Exactly.
Thank you, sir. So athletes are on their way to the Olympics to South Korea because the games begin next week.
North Korean competitors are also arriving, as well as Russians who will not be allowed to represent their home country. NBC's Barry Arendt reports.
In South Korea at last, Team USA speed skaters arriving at their Olympic Village. North Korea also sending speed skaters to the games. The Americans looking past the tensions between the U.S. and the North Korean regime.
I'm just here to compete for the U.S. and just be able to just do really awesome. So.
Well, we'll just treat them like any other competitor. I mean, that's how that's what they are. They're here to compete.
10 North Korean skaters and skiers arrived at the athletes' village, their country's flag flying in South Korean territory. But at the games, North and South will march under a neutral Korean flag. And then there are the Russians, welcomed to Korea in their neutral white jackets, barred from competing as a national team over doping by other athletes at past Olympics. As this smaller than normal contingent arrived, 28 other Russians had their sanctions lifted. The Sports Arbitration Court finding not enough evidence that they cheated at the 2014 Sochi Games. Russia's president pleased with the court decision, reversing bans in more than half the cases.
We're happy with this decision. It confirms our position that the great majority of our athletes are clean and do not use doping.
The International Olympic Committee says not so fast. Athletes who won their appeals still may not be allowed to compete.
Not being sanctioned does not automatically confer the privilege of an invitation.
So what does this mean? Turmoil and a frantic last-minute rush to the starting line in Pyeongchang for some Russian athletes who won their appeals and have their country's blessing. Their invitations not yet in the mail. Barry Arendt, NBC News.
The gold medalist of Olympic news is Cindy Williams, and she joins us now. Do you have any speeches or anything you want to talk about?
No, where's my podium, though? Right?
The world is your podium, Cindy.
Exactly. We got a lot more news coming up on News Center at 5:30. You know, Congressman Bruce Poliquin is still shaken after yesterday's deadly train crash in which one person was killed, but he says his colleagues in Congress were able to save a life. We'll have his account straight ahead. And Narcan will soon be sold over the counter after the Pharmacy Board went ahead and complied with Governor LePage's age restriction complaint. So those stories and more are all ahead in the next half hour.
All right, Cindy, sounds good. Thanks so much. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
On TV now.
Hi.
Hey, today's brain drops are pretty light, pretty straightforward, but Google has started this algorithm that tries to predict if your flight's going to be delayed before the airline knows it. So it takes into account historical data and also what's going on in the weather. So if you go on Google Flights and you just put in your flight number, it will tell you, hey, there's an 80% chance it's going to be delayed. But disclaimer, of course, they say still get to the airport in time, which kind of defeats the purpose of knowing you're going to have a delay. There's another tool that I've used for a very long time. If we can go to FlightAware here, this is my favorite. This is real time.
Wow.
Every flight that is registered commercially in the United States right now. Within that, Rachel or whoever's controlling this, if you could zoom in towards the Portland area, you will see a couple of hubs, right? JFK, you've got Hartsfield Jackson and Atlanta down there, and LAX. And the icons tell you whether or not they're in a weather delay. So see Lexington, Kentucky right there is in a weather delay because of that rain and the radar. And meanwhile, if you click on one of these planes that are moving, it'll tell you what its estimated time is, its duration, its altitude, everything.
That is so cool.
So
that is cool.
I use this for inbound flights. So if I'm waiting for my flight, I check the inbound flight first,
see where it's
because
coming
if
from.
it's delayed or going around weather, they're not going to magically make the plane appear at my gate any faster. So I found this is a great tool if you're sitting in the airport. When I did a lot of travel, this is my go-to. And it's interesting seeing them go around weather or not go around weather, depending.
All right, News Center at 5:30. We'll start right now.